It's the coffee table before. The color's just a little orange, so we're gonna see if we can kind of cool down the tones a little bit. And let me show you some of the damaged areas on here. So you can see that someone who built this beautifully put like a wood filler in some of the gaps, not the big holes, but you can see in some spots that wood filler has crumbled and cracked. So we're gonna replace this. I mean, obviously in these big holes, not, but in these smaller spaces, and some of this I think is gonna come up when I work on it. We're gonna leave the gaps, but just like fill the cracks. And then there's a few spots, this is one, where, I don't know if you can see, well, this board is like really, really loose. So I might even entirely pop it out and then add new wood glue to kind of support it. But this is just a really beautiful piece. I mean, even if I liked the color, it has a lot of cleanup needed. So, let's see right here. So we're gonna see what we can do to make this just even more amazing. The first thing I'm gonna do to this piece is just sand it. So I'm gonna start with a really coarse sandpaper, so a small number. This is 60 grit, and I'm gonna see how much of this finish I can take off without having to strip it. I probably am gonna have to strip it, but we're gonna try just sanding first to see what happens. So after sanding this for about 30 minutes, there is still, you can see it looks splotchy. It's just, I can't get all the finish off. You can see a little sheen. So I think I'm gonna have to apply some stripper and scrub it off by hand. Always wear gloves and protective gear when using stripper because it's really nasty and it stinks. I applied it with a sponge brush. You can use a sponge. Let it sit according to the instructions. Then you can use a paint scraper. Because of the detail on this table, I actually use steel wool to scrub at it. And then once it's done, wipe it off with a wet cloth. Then we used wood filler to fill in some of those cracks that I showed you before where the wood filler came out when I was sanding it. Then the wood filler didn't match, so I used a golden oak stain right in the wood filler with a precise brush, wiped it off to get rid of all the excess, and then just used sandpaper by hand to clean up any stain that got on the wood right around the wood filler. Finally, I did the whole thing with a whitewash coat. You can see it looks kind of dark in the other areas. That's because I did a coat without shaking the can, and it was basically clear. So then I shook the can and did it again, put the whitewash on, and wiped it off immediately for a really faint, light whitewashed look. Finally, I did 3 coats of matte polyacrylic sealant on top. Follow the cans on your specific poly to protect your piece. I really love how this piece turned out. I think it looks beachy, light, bright, but still really cool and unique. And most importantly, we repaired the damage where it was unstable and not fit for use. So now it is beautiful, perfect, and strong.